All right. Hello. Welcome to the Empower Call. This is our second call for March 2020. And what we're going to talk about today is gaining certainty in uncertain times. This is a necessary topic right now as we all witness and perhaps even take place in the fear and the panic that is going on right now in the world, adapting our business to what's going on in the current times. But, it's really interesting watching the responses and the energy of people going through this current situation that we're going through right now, and watching the different temperaments of some people in the very beginning when it first started coming out. Their belief systems ran wild. They got caught up in fear. They got caught up in panic and reacted. I posted on my Facebook wall the other day that I think it's really important right now for us to respond to what is rather than react to what could be. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, at least on my social media, even on my personal page, is just sort of be a voice of reason for people who don't have a voice of reason in their life right now. For most people, they've got the news, they've got, friends and family who are feeding them different information every day. There's a ton of misinformation that's out there about the situation going on. We're in a place right now where people are in such a panic that sharing something to them that's the truth feels like an attack to them. And so, if you post something that's just a fact, very often people are retaliating against that online. And, I've really just been trying to promote positive thinking. And even on my post where I'm trying to get people to think positive, I'm sort of getting attacked by people. And so this is really, really important. The thing I think that is driving this, and this is a word that I'm hearing a lot, is uncertainty. I've heard many people use the words uncertain times right now. We're in uncertain times. And it really got me to thinking, why is it that Kayla and I are riding this wave, if you want to call it that, so well? And we have so many people who are reaching out to us and saying, thank you for being a voice of reason. Thank you for being somebody who is stabilizing. Thank you for being somebody who's grounded. I really appreciate that voice in my life. And I realize I really do have to be out there doing this. And when I look at the reason why I think we are so grounded, and not just Kayla and I, all of our trainers and all of our team, I think as well, is putting out that same energy. And I think the big reason for it is that most of the people out there who are panicking, they're in a state of uncertainty. In other words, their routines that they have in their life, which they're fairly certain of every week, right? Most people were fairly certain, I would say 99% certain, before coronavirus, that they were going to go to work the next week. Most people were fairly certain, 99 probably percent, that they were going to go to the grocery store next week, right? And there are certain things and certain routines that people have in their life that we call the comfort zone. When people are in the comfort zone, there is a level of certainty to the comfort zone. It's one of the reasons why people stay in the comfort zone and they don't very often make changes in their life. And there are so many people who live their entire lives in that comfort zone, or what we like to call the gray zone, or I know a guy who calls it the land of blah, blah, blah. And even though they're not very happy with their life, they tend to do the same things over and over again. Why? Why do people stay in the comfort zone? Well, one reason it's uncomfortable to get out of it. But why is it uncomfortable to get out of it? Uncertainty. After coaching people 19 years now, coaching people in life and business and mindset, all different areas. And the biggest reason I find that most people don't want to get out of their comfort zone is uncertainty. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work the way I want it to? What if it doesn't work as well? What if people make fun of me? What will people think of me? And all of these uncertainties begin to pile up. And that's what tends to create that fear inside of people. Now, here's the challenge with that. And I've studied this for many, many years. And while I'm not a doctor and I'm not claiming to be a doctor, I do know a lot about health. I was one of those weird kids who my mom for a couple of years dated a surgeon. We lived with him. And I read all of his textbooks. Obviously don't have a degree. I'm not saying that makes me a doctor by any stretch, but I do understand a lot more about the human body than most people do in health and things like that. And on the top of that, for the last 20 years, really studying the effects of emotions and health. And the interesting thing is that most doctors, most scientists of medicine, if you were to ask them if emotions play a role in health, they will look at you like you're a kook, right? They will look at you like you are crazy, out of your mind, and it almost scares them to such an extent that, it's just not something that would even be entertained. Yet, every doctor, every general practitioner, every surgeon, every specialist out there will tell you that stress has an effect on your health. The question is this: where does stress come from? What is stress? We would describe stress as a way of being in a place of unease. Stress is an unease in your body. It's elevated levels of fight or flight syndrome. It's elevated levels of tension. It's elevated levels of cortisol and of adrenaline and all of these things. But here's the question. Let's back it up one step. Where does stress come from? Stress is the end result of negative emotions. Stress is a very generalized word that represents that a person has a situation in their life they feel negatively about. They have negative emotions about. Here's the important part about this, right? I've studied the work of a guy named Dr. Hammer for many, many years now, taken intensive training in it. And over the years, I've had my own verifications that Dr. Hammer's work is correct. Dr. Hammer was an oncologist, worked with cancer patients for many, many years, a very good oncologist, until one day his wife died. His wife died of cancer. The oncologist could not save his own wife from cancer. And this, of course, threw him into an incredible depression. And then while he was in that depression, his son was brutally murdered. So he had a double shock of massive negative emotions. And he himself developed cancer. Even though he was an oncologist, he understood the causes of cancer, avoided all of them, ate healthy, exercised. And because he understood what causes cancer, he did everything in his power to stay healthy and away from cancer. Yet he ended up with it. And his new mission in life, at that point, he didn't know it was his mission yet. It really came down to asking one question. I wonder if the stress that I've been under for the last 18 to 24 months contributed to me having cancer in my body, right? He knew that he told his cancer patients to avoid stress so that they could heal. But the question was, could stress contribute to cancer in the body? And after a scientific study of 100,000 patients and developing a means of curing that cancer, which had nothing to do with cutting, microwaving, or drugging a person, right? It had to do with dealing with the emotional conflicts that were going on in that person. He formed a map of the body. That map of the body is incredibly accurate. He's had doctors from around the world send him documentation on patients, and he could diagnose the patient without ever seeing them, just by looking at some medical data. Fascinating stuff. He has a legally documented in the courts in France, 92.3% success rate in curing cancer. We're not talking about remission. We're talking about cured. In other words, gone and never comes back again. I don't want to get into that story because I could talk about it for hours. Literally, I could teach a 4 or 5 day class on it. But here's the deal. In his map of the body, he conclusively proves that fear weakens the immune system and creates a doorway for dis-ease to come into the body. And in this map of the body, the conflict that affects the lungs, and this is what we're dealing with right now, right, is people who are having major, major lung issues. And by the way, a lot of the people having major lung issues aren't even testing positive for coronavirus. I don't know if you've seen these news reports of people who are going into the ICU. They're getting on a ventilator. They're finally recovering. And then the test comes back and they didn't have coronavirus in the first place. Yet there's these major lung problems going on. In the map of the body that Dr. Hammer researched and came to, conflict behind lungs is a fear of death. This is one of the reasons why very often when somebody gets cancer in one area of the body, shortly after the diagnosis, they get cancer in the lungs. And this is one of the reasons why most people, when they hit stage 4 cancer, that cancer gets to the lungs. So here's the thing. If we know that fear weakens the immune system, if we know that fear of dying, then I think it's really important that we lessen our fear. You're an antenna. And I'm not even talking about the law of attraction, by the way, because I do believe in the law of attraction. And I do think that we can use our intention and our energy to solve this problem. But I'm not even talking about that. Your energy, your emotions right now are an antenna that other people pick up the signal of. If you are in a fear state, if you are in a panic state, then the people around you, the people you love, are picking up on those signals. These are people who look up to you very often, especially if they're children or if they're younger people, maybe nieces or nephews. They see you as an authority figure. And authority is actually one form of hypnosis. Many people don't know this. What does authority mean? When a person has authority over another person, it means that that second person accepts the first person's ideas and suggestions without critical thought. That's what we call hypnosis. When one person accepts the suggestions of another without critical analysis, that's hypnosis. You don't have to be in a relaxed state with your eyes closed. You don't have to have a pendulum or a hypnodisc. Just authority is enough. That very often, if you say something to another person, or even non-verbally, if they pick up on your emotions, your state, that affects them, and then they become an antenna to other people. And for this reason, something like fear becomes what we call a meme. M-E-M-E, a meme. A meme is what we call a thought virus. Thoughts can become viruses just like little biological creatures can become viruses. When you have a fear, an intense fear especially, and you spread that fear to other people, whether it's through your energy, whether it's through your body language, whether it's through things that you share on Facebook that are not based in fact. There's so many people right now sharing these memes on Facebook. All these crazy things that nobody has proof of, but people share them as if they're real. I'm not blaming anybody for sharing it necessarily, because probably the person who shared it to them was an authority figure. So the person who shared it got it from an authority figure, accepted it without critical thought, and shared it out to other people. And I hate to say it, but because of the whole dopamine thing in Facebook, very often people will even amplify what they got and scare the shit out of the people they talk to just a little bit more than they were scared from the person before them. And so what happens is things start to snowball. And one fear that one person told you becomes a more intense fear that gets passed on to other people. And this is a virus. It's not a biological virus. It's a thought virus. And we can become infected with it. But here's the thing. If we are antennas and other people pick up on our energy, which I believe to be true, I don't know if you believe that as a premise, but I believe that to be true, then we have a responsibility to manage our state. We have a responsibility. And if you believe like me that fear weakens the immune system, or that even fear can go further than that and actually affect certain parts of the body specifically, then we definitely have a responsibility to the people around us to manage our state. And the good news is we can. I know that sometimes fear feels like it's automatic. Sometimes we get these things where you're walking through the yard and you go, snake! There is sometimes that automatic, snap to that we go to. And then we go, oh, that's just a hose. And the thing is, I think part of our responsibility is looking at what's in the grass and going, oh, that's just a hose, instead of telling everybody else around us there's a snake in our yard. What this comes down to is this, our thoughts, while they may seem automatic, and even our beliefs, by the way, I get a lot of people that don't know NLP, they don't know the stuff that you're learning. They say to me, they go, well, that's just what I believe. I can't change what I believe. Of course you can. Of course you can change. You change your beliefs all the time. You can change your beliefs anytime you want to. The only thing that prevents you very often is believing that you can't change your beliefs. A belief is just a thought you think with conviction. It's a thought that you trust as being true. And so I think it's really, really important for us when we have people spreading these beliefs to us, that instead of just adopting the belief and spreading it out to other people, that we stop and we go, wait, is this a snake or is this a hose? Because the moment you start telling people it's a snake without any proof of that or evidence of that, now we are broadcasting like an antenna and other people are picking up on it. I cannot tell you the things that I've seen publicly shared on Facebook and the things that people have privately sent me messages on that go, Michael, I heard this from somebody who's an authority figure. Look out, this is what's coming. Get all your money out of the bank. Go hoard all the toilet paper that you can get because we're all going to die, right? People freak the F out. But here's the thing. This is where our responsibility comes in. Maybe somebody tells you something of authority and you go, maybe that's true. But it's now after Tuesday and there's no martial law. At some point, we have to look at those people we thought were authority figures and say, that was bullshit. That thing you told me was bullshit. And probably I'm not going to believe anything else that you tell me. But what happens a lot of times, people believe the first thing, and when it doesn't happen, the person who told them that comes up with another excuse. Oh, it couldn't happen this day because that, and now it's going to happen next Wednesday. And guess what? Next Wednesday, it probably won't happen either. And at some point, we have to look down in the grass and go, that's a fucking hose. That's not a snake. And manage our own state. We have a responsibility for this. And this was the intention of my message when I said, we have to learn to respond to what is, not react to what could be. There's people out there right now reacting to what could be. And I got to say, I've been caught up in this myself. And I scared the crap out of myself for nothing. Now, here we are again. All the same people are bringing us all the same theories. They weren't true in 2008. They're 99.99% likely not true now. But here's the thing. Even if they are true, living your life in fear on a day-to-day basis is not helpful. It's a total waste of energy, and it affects the people around us. So my answer to this is certainty. I've had so many people that notice and they ask me, they go, how are you so certain right now? And the answer is this: you are in charge of your focus. So focus on what you want. This is one of our primary tenets in NLP. You get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. Now, you can believe that from a law of attraction perspective. You could believe that from an NLP unconscious mind perspective. Either way, I've shown in my life, I've proven in my life that I get what I focus on every single time. If I focus on all this other shit that people are talking about out there is another side to this. There is a light at the end of this tunnel. Yet there are people spreading on Facebook right now saying our economy will never recover from this. Are you kidding me? Look at the history of our country. Look at the Depression. The Depression was a worldwide economic event, and we thrived after the Depression. We thrived. Most of the wealth in this country was created in the last 120 years. And people are saying we're never going to recover from this? Of course we're going to recover from this. Once this is all over, whether it's 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now, or God forbid, hopefully not more than that, once we're through this, things will flourish. It may be rough. But here's the thing, you get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. There are opportunities in this situation for everybody. What makes the difference between somebody finding opportunities and finding themselves doomed? Focus. Focus. What are you focused on? And so here's the thing. Certainty comes from what you think and how you store what you think in your mind. So I'm going to give you a method, a formula here for creating certainty in your own mind. Because even if you feel like the future is uncertain right now, you can generate certainty. You can have any state you want at any time. That's what NLP teaches us, the power of being in control of your own thoughts. So how do we generate certainty? First thing is this: decide what you want. Now, I'm not talking about any outside circumstance. People go, I can't decide what I want. The government's in charge of us right now, or the virus is in charge. No, screw that. Decide what you want. What is it that you want? And I want you to make an internal representation of that in your mind. In other words, I want you to see what you'll see, hear what you'll hear, feel what you'll feel, having what you want. Decide on what it is that you want. Now, once you know what that is, here's what I want you to do. Clear your mind. And I want you to think of something that you have been certain about in the past. There are all kinds of things that we can be certain about. We can be certain that the sun comes up the next morning. I'm certain the sun will rise tomorrow. I'm certain of that. I'm certain that I am Michael. I'm certain that this desk exists. There are things that we are certain about in our life, and I want you to think of something that you're certain about. As you think of how certain you are about that thing, I want you to notice how you store that information in your mind. Not what you're storing. If you're certain the sun's coming up tomorrow, I don't want you to think about the sun and the color of the sun and this and that. I want you to think of how you store the image of that. So in other words, is that picture in your mind or movie, is it color or is it black and white or somewhere in between? Right? Could be drab, could be right in the middle. Take note of that. Write it down on a piece of paper. Is it color or is it black and white? Is it bright or dim or somewhere in the middle? As you think about how certain you are of that thing, is it bright? Is it dim? Or is it somewhere in the middle? Just make note of it. What's the size of the image in your mind or the movie in your mind? Is it life size? Is it bigger than life? Is it smaller than life? Make note of that. All of these things are the ways that we store things in our mind that we're certain about. Every single thing you're certain about, you will store the same way. And when you think of the future right now, you're thinking of a negative future and you're not certain about it, right? It's uncertain. And so you store that in a different way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the image of what you want and make it certain. Next question is this: how close to you in your mind's eye is that image? Is it arm's length? Is it closer? Is it further away? Is it 30 feet away from you? Is it 10 feet away from you? Where is that picture in your mind's eye when you think of that certain image? Next, is it focused or defocused or somewhere in between? Is it like laser quality focused? Is it, HD, 1000 quality focused, or is it fuzzy? Or is it somewhere in between? Next, does that picture wrap all the way around you as if you're in the experience? Or is it framed as if it's a picture, like a square picture that's in front of you in your mind's eye? That's another thing to make note of. 2 more to go on the visual. Are you in the body Are you in your own body in that picture or movie looking through your own eyes? Or are you separated from yourself and observing yourself as if you were a third person, right? That's called dissociated if you're separated from yourself. If you're in your own body, it's called associated, okay? So how are you observing this certainty? Are you looking through your own eyes, experiencing it as if you're there, or are you out of it and kind of looking at yourself or observing yourself, observing that thing? And the final one is it a movie or is it a still picture? I want you to make note of all of those things. These are called submodalities in NLP, and they're the way that we store, they're the how. How do we store things in our mind, which classifies those things and actually gives them the feeling? I remember the very first time I saw this technique, there was a woman who was addicted to M&Ms. She was over 400 pounds. And I watched the NLP trainer in about a matter of 90 seconds make her hate M&Ms. They disgusted her. I saw her a year later, and then I asked her about it. She said she hadn't had an M&M since. She couldn't touch them because of the way that she stored the M&Ms was changed and then locked into place. Now, we're going to do the opposite, though. We're going to take something you're not certain of, and we're going to make you certain of it. All right, so that's the last one. Is it a movie or a still picture? I just want you to make note of these things. Color, black and white, bright or dim, near or far, big or small, focused or defocused, right? All of these things, and write them all down. Now, the next thing I want you to do is notice the sounds. Okay, as you think of the thing that you're certain of, whether it's the sun coming up tomorrow, that the table in front of you exists, gravity works, whatever it is that you're certain of, think of that picture, and I want you to notice the sounds. Are there any sounds that are going on? And if they are, I don't care what the sound is. We don't care about the content. The thing I want to know is, what's the volume of the sound, 0 to 10? How loud is it? 10 being, excruciatingly loud. What's the direction of the sound? Is it coming from a certain direction, or is it all around you? And what's the speed of the sound? Is it going normal speed? Is it fast? Is it slow? Make notes of those things. Oh, also, is there anything that you're saying internally to yourself while you think about the certainty? Make note of that. And then finally, the feeling. Here's what I want you to do. As you think about how certain you are about that thing, I want you to notice how it feels to feel certainty. I want you to notice how it feels to feel certainty. And I want you to pinpoint where that feeling is in your body. Is it in your solar plexus? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your head? Where is that feeling of certainty that you feel when you know something is true with absolute certainty? And I want you to make note of what is the intensity of that certainty. Scale of 0 to 10. What's the intensity of the feeling that you feel when you feel certainty? Also want you to make notice of what's the size and the shape of that feeling. Is it a ball? Is it a triangle? Is it a square? Is it a dot? And what's the intensity on a scale of 0 to 10? Now, when you have all that, here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and just clear your mind, kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Just shake that image out of your mind, right? Clear your mind. And here's what I want you to do now. I want you to think of the thing that you want to be certain about. What is that future that you want to have? Now, for me, the things that I'm really focused on right now, number one, I am certain that we will help people. So people go, aren't you worried about going out of business? No, because I'm certain that we're going to help people, and I'm certain that people want the help. We saw that this last weekend. We had over 100 people register for the Create Your Life training. That's just amazing. And by the way, if you're looking for more certainty in your life and you want to learn how to take control of your mind so that your mind doesn't run you, because that's what's happening right now. People are letting their minds run them. They're going crazy. Then I urge you to sign up for one of the Create Your Life events we have. People need this right now. I'm certain of that. I'm certain that our team is going to get paid throughout this whole thing. We're not laying a single person off. Every single person on our team is going to get paid. I'm certain that we're going to come up with ways for every single person, not just to make money, but to thrive on our team so that they sail through this. I'm certain that we're going to sail through this. I'm certain of all these things because I've generated certainty for them. The only difference between people who are confident and people who are unconfident is this. People who are confident, when they think about things coming up in the future, they see them the way they want them to go. People who are unconfident see all the problems, the challenges, the disasters, or the failures that could happen. That is literally the only difference between confident people and unconfident people. So here's my advice to you. And here's the funny thing. When I tell people this, I go, listen, if you're unconfident, stop thinking about the failure and start thinking about it going the way that you want it to go. And the funny thing is I get some people want to argue for their limitations so friggin' much till they're blue in the face. I get some people, they look at me and they go, but Michael, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Aren't I just fooling myself if I think it's going to go right? And I go, you don't know what's going to happen in the future, so aren't you just fooling yourself if you think it's going to fail? You don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. None of us can tell the future as far as I know. If somebody knew the future, they'd win the lottery every single week, right? Nobody that I know knows exactly what's going to happen in the future. So here's the thing. If you have a choice between projecting positivity or negativity into the future, always choose positive. Always. Anything less is a gross misuse of your powerful subconscious mind. So now that you know how you store the picture that you're certain of, I want you to think of the outcome that you want for this. What do you want out of this? I see this whole opportunity as a way for me to help a ton more people than we would have helped had this not happened. We have so many more people right now who want to improve their lives. So for us, I'm certain that we're going to sort through this. Now, I'm not saying everybody's in the same situation as us, but you can have the same feeling. And with that feeling, whether you believe in just the unconscious mind or if you believe in the law of attraction, with that feeling, you will create better results than if you're thinking doom and gloom, period. So here's what I want you to do. Think of the future that you want. What is your ideal outcome from this? And I want you to look at the list that you just made. Color, black and white, brighter, dim, near or far, location, all of that stuff that I said. And I want you to take the picture of the outcome that you want, and I want you to make it match all of the things from the first picture. So I want you to make it match the exact level of color. Think of the outcome that you want right now. Make it match the exact level of color. If it was really bright with colors, then brighten it up. If it was dim it down. If it was drab, put it in the middle. Think of the brightness of that first picture. Now the new picture, the outcome that you want, make it just as bright as the other one. Take that image of the outcome that you want and bring it just as close or push it just as far as the other one was. If it was bigger than life, make this picture bigger. If it was smaller, make it smaller. If it was life size, make it life size. Change the focus so that it's exactly the same focus as the other image. And if the other image was a still, make this image, the outcome that you want, a still picture. If the other image is a movie, make this one a movie. And what you'll find when you do that, you'll find it automatically snap over. And you'll begin to feel the feelings of certainty about this new outcome. Recognize that feeling of certainty wherever you noticed it in your body. When you shift these components, it will automatically switch over. It will automatically become a certain, what we call internal representation, a certain thought. And then you can ask the unconscious mind, you know that sound a master lock makes when you lock it? Make that sound in your mind right now and tell your unconscious mind to lock this in. This is your new reality. This is your new certainty. You can do this about anything at all. This, to me, of all the things that I've learned in my life, obviously the NLP techniques have helped me gain this, but being able to have certainty in my life about anything is one of the most powerful things that I've ever had in my life. And so what I want you to do is this. If you recognize at any point in any area of life about any situation, if you recognize yourself feeling some uncertainty, stop and ask yourself what you want instead. Find something that you're certain about. Figure out what the qualities of it are. Color, bright or dim, big or small, near or far, picture or still, and then take that new outcome that you want and shift it in that way. This is the structure of thinking versus the content of thinking. It doesn't matter what the content of the picture is. You can change it into certainty by changing it to the same structure as how you store the image of certainty in your mind. And this is so, and by the way, certainty is not the only thing you can do with this. If you're not motivated about something, think of something you're motivated about, notice the internal image, sound, and feeling, and make note of how it is. How is it stored? This is called a submodality shift. Then take the thing you want to be motivated about, like doing your taxes or something that's boring, and then shift it so it's stored the same way in your head as the thing you're motivated about. This will create instant motivation inside of you, and you can lock it in. That sound a master lock makes. Just tell your unconscious mind, lock it in. This is where it is now. This is how the thought is now. And this gives you control over your thinking. And when you get control over your thinking, you'll have control over your state. When you have control over your state, you will be an antenna of confidence and safety and certainty for the people around you. We're at a turning point right here, folks. We need people to be certain. We need people to be positive in this situation. We are going to come out of this. We're going to come out of this. There are opportunities that are bounding in this situation. There are a lot of opportunities here. And, one of the things that I always talk about is gratitude, the power of gratitude. If you're not feeling gratitude for the situation that we're in, or for your situation in life, or for the things that you have, stop, get a gratitude journal, get a pen, and start writing down what you're grateful for every single day. Do we have challenges going on right now? Yes. But you can be in gratitude for what you have. And we have a lot. You have a lot in your life. The more gratitude you have, the more you're going to attract to yourself. So that's all I got for today. Hakala, everybody. We're going to get through this. I'm certain of that. And I hope that you can get some certainty in your life in this situation too. That's all I got. Hakala. Talk to you next call. Bye.